Viewers, welcome to Shree's Coding Hub. Till the last episode, we have seen so many concepts in C language. Like we have seen so many concepts. If you are not gone through those episodes, the link will be provided in the description. We have covered so many concepts in C language, like we got to know what are ASCII codes, what is a built-in what are built-in functions. We used printf built-in function in different faction. We got to know what are escape sequences, format types, and we also did arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication in by writing a code in C language. And we also discussed a suspicious topic ASCII codes in very detailed manner. All the links are provided in the description. So stay. In this way, we are going to cover C language from basic level to pro in series wise. So stay tuned. Do not forget to subscribe our channel and like the video. So without getting late, let's get started. Now, today we are going to take our concept something to the next level. Till here, till the last episode, what we did, uh, let me make this statement, or otherwise I remove this. I remove all this implicit, explicit. I remove it. Now, till now, what we did is we did addition, subtraction. Okay, it's fine. We did like something like this. Percentile starts for integer, so we did 1 plus 2. Okay, it's fine. Multiply. The input is 3. Okay, I think output screen is something disturbance. I used clear screen built-in function. Compile loaded. Now you can see the output is 3. Okay, it's fine. Now I want the sum of these two numbers 1 and 2 across my program. I want now in the next line also I need the same sum. Then then find the solution. How can we get the same value? Can you guess? If your guess is something like this, again doing the same operation, you are wrong. You are wrong. Because it's okay. The output will be same like 3 and 3. But here for the first printf, the CPU is processing and doing addition and giving the output, and our printf is printing that value. But if we want the same value across our program in different lines, then again and again uh, processing the same operation like addition of those two numbers only, it is not the perfect way. It is not preferable. Now here what can we do? Here the possible way is we first we should store first we should store the sum of the two numbers 1 and 2. We should store the sum of 1 and 2 at some area in our storage space. We should store the sum of these two numbers in our storage space, and then we should access that storage space and get the value that is there in the storage, and we should use it for our requirement. I hope you guys understood the concept. We should The preferable way is storing the sum of these two numbers at some place and accessing that place and getting the value. This is the possible way and preferable way. I hope you guys understood. Now how can we do that? How can we store any value in our storage space? Now before going to know that, there is a small concept, data type, which comes into play for this storing. There are data types like int, uh, char, float, double. Now int stands for integers, our char stands for characters. Now our float stands for decimal values. Now our double stands for also decimal values, but long decimal values, some big decimal values. Simply we can say long decimal values. Now okay, now these are the data types we use to store the any data in our storage space. Now what is the use of these data types? Why should we use it? Now if we want to store integer type like any number. Now we are trying to store the sum of two numbers which rises to an integer. Now how can we store that integer? How our system should understand we are trying to store integer, create a space which is required for integer. Now how it knows? It knows by defining the data type int. It understand the when it get to know, when it get to observe the int data type is defined, it allocates memory for integers. Now our int occupies 2 bytes of memory. Our int occupies 2 bytes. Before knowing this, there is another concept, the measurement of storage. How we measure the storage? Same like liquid, we measure like 20 liters, 10 milliliters. In the same way, the smallest measurement of storage is bits. The smallest storage measurement is bits. 8 bits equal to 1 byte. 8 bits equal to 1 byte. From bytes everybody knows. 1024 bytes equal to 1 kilobyte, and 1024 kilobytes equal to 1 megabyte, and 1024 megabytes equal to 1 gigabyte. 1024 gigabytes equal to 1 terabyte. I hope you guys understood. The smallest measurement of storage is bits. Okay. Now this thing everybody knows usually, generally. Now our int occupies 2 bytes memory. Our int occupies 2 bytes memory. Our char occupies 1 byte. Our float occupies 4 bytes. Our double occupies 8 bytes. 8 bytes. Our float occupies 4 bytes and our char occupies 1 byte. Okay, I hope you guys understood. Now, how to use these data types and store any required data in our storage space. Before going to that, now it is okay. We are able to store the data, whatever the data type. We use the appropriate data type for integers int, for characters char, for float decimal values double or float. It is okay, but where this 2 bytes or 1 byte or 4 bytes or 8 bytes data is allocated, where it is getting allocated, the simple answer, these are allocated, gets allocated in RAM. The simple answer is RAM. Now in RAM, as we discussed in the earlier episodes, those links are provided in the description. If you are not gone through those, please go and check out. As we discussed earlier, in the RAM there are 4 segments: code, data, stack, heap. Now in these 4 segments, where these are going to store? Where these are going to store? In the stack segment. In the stack segment. Okay, in the stack segment. Why? Because there is also a reason behind the storing of these data types in stack segment. Let's understand in very depth. Now let's start the process of storing the values. Here the declaration must be at the top before using the clear screen function. If not, we will get an error. Let's see, let it come. Oh, sorry, where it gone? Sorry, let us get the error. It's fine. Int uh, now int declares 2 bytes of memory in RAM. Okay, but whatever the memory allocated, whatever memory is allocated for us, the memory has some address to access it. To access it, the memory has some address like 6120 or 7120, so on, whatever it may be, but we don't know that address. we couldn't see that address. What it gives some it picks some random number and it takes as address. We can't even say the address looks like this, also looks like this only. We can't even say. I just mentioned it for example. Whatever characters it picks and it defines it as address. The address we don't know, as we are developer also we can't see the address. So but the whatever storage space, whatever the 2 byte storage is getting allocated, it is linked with the address. If we want to store any data into that storage space, now here in our coding, now here in our coding segment, to store that, to store any value into that storage, we should store into this address, because this address is linked with that storage. Now if we want to store any value into this address, we don't know this address, we don't know this address. How can we store? Now here what we do is we assign any variable like a or b or I or c, anything, to this address. How we will assign? Like sum. Now we are doing sum, so that's why I took the variable as sum. Now this sum variable is linked with this address. This address is which address? This address is of that storage space. Now that storage space, now this sum is called object. Now this sum is called object. What it is called? Object. Why it is called object? In our coding segment, whatever the variable we assign for the memory allocation is called as object. Whatever variable assigned for memory allocation is called object. I hope you guys got the point. Now how to store any how to store? Now our requirement is to store the sum of two numbers into this sum. How can we do that? Simply keeping equal to, and now I'll take two numbers 8 plus 8 and keeping semicolon. Semicolon is mandatory, as we all know. Okay, now what our how our execution will be? The execution of program will be from top to bottom. Okay, now clear screen gets executed, and now the addition of two numbers right to left. They in this line, at this point of line, the execution starts from right to left. First it adds the our two numbers. Because we used arithmetic operator, plus it adds the two numbers 8 and 8, and after adding the result will be 16, and now this 16 is copied into the address of address of the storage space which is linked with sum, because it doesn't go into the sum. It understand the concept. Here the sum is a object. It goes into the address. It goes into the address which is linked to our object, which is linked to our object. Our object has some address like this. It goes into this address, because we should know the difference. We can't say directly that it is going to sum. It is going into the storage space, which it is going into the address. Our sum object has some address. It is going into that. We can't say direct blindly. It is going into the sum. Okay. Yes. After getting known, we can say, we will say like that only. But understanding in depth is important. Now I am printing printf percentile d. I am printing something different. The sum is percentile d slash n is for next line, comma sum. Now our printf starts execution. Now it prints first what it has, the next sum is. Now it got percentile d. It searches for the integer to give the output. Now it got sum. Now what it does, it goes into the address of sum and gets the value and prints. So that address is accessed with the object name sum. Okay, here sum is an object. We already discussed what is an object. Okay, where it is created in the RAM, in the stack segment. Okay, objects are created in the RAM in the stack segment. Remember that point. I'll mention here. These are created in stack. Okay, which is a part of RAM. Now let's see the output error. As I mentioned earlier, that now here int sum equal to 8 plus 8. What it is called ultimately? It is called declaration, because we are declaring some value into the sum. We are declaring some value into the address of address which is linked with our object sum. Okay, we are assigning some value into the object. Now this is called declaration. Okay, now always these declarations are should be at the top in our C language, not in all languages. In C language it is mandatory that declarations should be at the top. Now here we can keep clear screen, that is why it has shown error. Now warning has came, which we are not bothered. Now control F9, linking and loading, enter alt F5. Now here you can see the output, the sum is 16. Okay, fine, we have done successfully with. Now let's take another example. Let's use char equal to, here understand the concept. I am using a plus 32. Sorry, here I forgot to assign some variable. Char v equal to, okay, v value, let's say value. Okay, value. Now let us print the value. Printf the value is here percentile c slash n comma value. Now let's see the output and discuss the execution. Control F9. You can see the value is a, as we discussed earlier in the last episode, the ASCII code concept, which is very important. Here what it happened, the char value means character. Now what happens here, a, it's a, we used arithmetic operator plus, so two integers should get added. Now what is the ASCII code of a? 65. And what is the ASCII here? 32. 65 plus 32, 97. Now here we are assigning this value into character. So what is the character value? What is the ASCII code of 97? Small a. So that's why small a is assigned, small a is copied into the object. Small a is copied into the object value. Okay, that's why we got output as small a. Okay, I hope you guys understood. Now see here, instead of percentile c, let's keep percentile d. I hope you guys understood what it is doing. We are performing arithmetic operation a plus 32. Whatever it may be, the value will be 97. 97 is also treated as character. 97 is also treated as character and sent into the object value. But here we printed percentile c. So what is the character, what is the ASCII value of that number, that will be printed. Now if I here percentile d, now it goes and check the value, it brings the value and prints the integer, the number format of that value. Let's see, alt F5. You can see it printed 97. Now I hope you guys understood. A, the value of ASCII code of A is 65 and 32. Sum is 97. Now, whatever the value, 97 is also treated as character. 97 is also treated as character. Here, A will also be charactered as, no, A plus B will also be treated as characters, so integers, because ASCII code of A is 97 and ASCII code of small b is 98, and the addition sum of those will be sent into the sum, which is an integer object. Let's see the output. Now let's see what is the value printed for char a plus here a plus 32. For here we are printing percentile d, which stands for integer. For better understanding, you can see the sum is 195. The ASCII code of A is 97 and it is 98. So the sum is 195 and the value is 97. So ASCII code of A is 65 and plus 32 97. So 97 is also treated as character and sent into the value. But here we are printing with percentile d, so it tries to print integer number format. So the ASCII code of so number format. So it is printing 97. I hope you guys understood very well. Okay. This is how we can do. We can store any required data in our system. You can do the same with float double. I hope you guys will practice in our favorite turbo C++ environment. Now it's okay. We are adding two numbers, it's fine. But here, if we want to build an application like calculator, we can't directly specify the values. The values will be chosen from user. He will enter any required value in the keyboard like this. Right. 552 plus 10 and he sees the output. Like this the process will be. Now, how come we can make here in our application, sorry, how can we make here the values are fixed which are given by me, and the user which is you who is using our application will not come into this code and change any value here. It is not possible because he don't know what to do. He simply wants to input the value. He simply wants to give the input and get the output. Now how can we take the input from the user? How can we take the input from the keyboard and do the same task on the values which we got as input? Let's see. Now here we want to scan the input from the keyboard. For that we have a built-in function called scanf. We have a built-in function called scanf. It is used to take the input from the keyboard. It is used to take the input from the keyboard, and whatever the value is scanned by the is got by the scanner, it it will be stored in our storage space. It will be stored in our RAM. It will be stored in our RAM in the stack segment as an object. Now how to do that? Here what I am doing is, here I am removing uh, this whole. I am removing this value. Uh, okay, and also printing value is also removed. Now here what I am doing is I am allocating I'll take another line. What I am doing is int int total is my variable and a b. Now here three different variables. For three different variables, three 2 bytes memory will be allocated. For three different objects, the three 2 bytes memory will be allocated, and these objects will be pointed to three different 2 bytes storage space in the RAM in the stack segment. Now here A and B should get the values which are given by the user, and total should catch the value after adding a and the values which are in a and b. So let's see how to do that. Now I am creating a simple user interface. Enter a value and I am using scanf function. Now how to do? Now here our goal is to scan any integer value. Our goal is to scan any integer value. For integer, what is the format type? As we know, percentile d, and I am keeping slash n. After percentile, after scanning, it should go to the next line. Cursor should go to the next line. Okay, comma. Now here, here, whatever the address, whatever the address it is, it has chosen for our storage space, the value should go into that address, because that storage space is linked with this address, not with this address is linked with our variable. So it should go, ultimately the total is a, now our a is a object, so ultimately our input should go into the address of a. It should go into the address of a. It means it should go into the storage space which has address 6120 or something, whatever the address it may be, it should go into that address. So we should define it as address of a. Okay, now here ampersand, it is called ampersand, stands for address of. Okay, address of. Now whatever the value we input, it is going into the address of a. Now next we want to take the input, sorry, enter b value, and now scanf percentile d slash n address of b, here covert comma, sorry, saving. Now what our total should contain, what our total should contain, our total should contain the addition of those two values which are in a and b. So a plus b, simple. Now here I am going to print, instead of some total, the total is, now I am removing clear screen function here. I am after declaration I am clipping here, clear is, yeah, okay. Now here what happens, first printf gets executed and prints enter a value. Just beside that, due to the absence of slash n, it does not move to the next line, and there it asks for, it waits for the input until and unless we give any input. In place of integer, if we give any word, Shri's coding hub, like that, the compiler throws error, because we define the format type as percentile d, which stands for integer, and the whatever the value we give, it goes into the address of this object a. Okay, like that. And here this here it gets the value which is in the address of a, and it gets the value which is in the address of b, and does the arithmetic operation addition and copies into the address of total. It is not going into just total, it is copying into the address of total which is in the RAM. Okay, I hope you guys understood. And now I am printing total. I am giving the input 20, 30. For seeing the output, Alt F5. You can see we got the total 50. It is as simple as it is. Now we can we can get the values from the user, and we can store in our storage space RAM, and we can process any operation, and we can see the output. That's it for today's episode, and in this way we are going to learn C language from basic to pro in series wise. So stay tuned, do not forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you.